Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, allow me to take this opportunity to thank members for the expedient consideration of this first supplementary appropriations bill of 2024-2025. And Honorable Speaker, as we said when we were doing the second reading of this bill, this is unprecedented in the history of our Parliament and indeed our country, because it comes only within the first month of the new financial year of 24-25. And as is now clear, this was largely occasioned by the rejection of the Finance Bill of 2024. Honorable Speaker, this is to say that for every action, there is a reaction. And for every choice, there is a consequence. When we acted in the manner we acted regarding the Finance Bill, there had to be a reaction, and the reaction is therefore to cut our budget to commensurate with the losses that we make in terms of the revenues that we were going to collect in this financial, or rather during this financial year.
One moment, Leader. Sergeant at Arms, I need a Sergeant at Arms somewhere here, please.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I was saying, Honorable Speaker, and also because we made a choice, we have to live with the consequences. We made a choice to forego part of our revenue generation measures or revenue raising measures in this financial year. And therefore, the consequences are some of the losses that we have seen in terms of the budgetary allocations that we had, some now that we have to cut back to be able to finance our budget within the resources that will be available. And also, Honorable Speaker, with the court judgment by the Court of Appeal today, nullifying the Finance Act of 2023, that tells you, Honorable Speaker, that it is also likely that we will be here again for further cuts. Because, Honorable Speaker, the government of Kenya has no other way of generating revenue other than through taxation. And indeed, there's a parlance in the United States where they say that there is no taxation, no representation without taxation, or no taxation without representation, like in the state of Washington, D.C. Honorable Speaker, the reverse is also true. There can never be representation without taxation. And that is a fact of life that we have to live with. It's shocking, Honorable Speaker, and I'm not here to dissect the ruling of the Court of Appeal today, the three honorable judges. But, Honorable Speaker, what the courts are telling us today is also an affront not just on our democracy, but our constitutional order in this country under the 2010 Constitution. The courts today are telling us, through their judgment today, that for every amendment, including the amendments that we have just passed on the appropriations bill, they must go through public participation. The courts are telling us that amendments that emanate from the public participation process must then be taken back to the people for a second round of public participation. Therefore, when I read that judgment this afternoon, Honorable Speaker, I was left wondering and asking myself, does it mean then that all acts of parliament passed by this House post-2010 then are also a nullity in law and unconstitutional? Because there is not a single act of parliament enacted by this House and even by the other House that has not had amendments in third reading. And those amendments have never gone back to the people for public participation. That is a fallacy, Honorable Speaker, of that judgment today by the Court of Appeal, with all due respect to the learned judges. But as learned as the judges are, Honorable Speaker, we must now start asking ourselves whether we are in a constitutional democracy or what kind of governance structure we have in this country. I hear the Honorable TJ Kajwang, not my words, the Honorable TJ Kajwang is saying judicial dictatorship from his seat. But we must be careful, Honorable Speaker. We must be the guardians of our Constitution if the judiciary fails to be the guardians of our Constitution. Because Parliament is the law-making body in the country. If the judiciary desires to be the lawmakers, they have the option of resigning from the judicial seats and come and run for parliamentary seats and come make laws in this house. But we cannot have a situation where the judiciary now wants to make laws from the bench. It has never happened anywhere in the world, in any democracy, Honorable Speaker. I saw last week in the United States, President Joe Biden outgoing in the United States, having similar problems with their Supreme Court. This era, Honorable Speaker, of judicial activism and judicial dictatorship must and needs to come to an end, Honorable Speaker. Because the judiciary is telling us that the legislative arm of government cannot legislate now. The executive arm of government will never execute anything without being superimposed on what to do by the judiciary. Honorable Speaker, I just say that in passing because we have gone through a third reading. We have made amendments to the Appropriations Act. I'm here wondering whether another judge now will tell me or tell this House that we must go to the public for public participation. And these judges must understand that most of the amendments that come in through the Committee of the Whole are usually as a consequence of public participation. Even the Finance Act of 2023, even the finance bill, the rejected finance bill, all the amendments that came out of the third stage, the committee stage, emanated from what members of the public told their elected representatives. We do not want tax on bread. We came here, we amended the law, we removed tax on bread. They told us we don't want tax on motor vehicles. We came here, we amended. Now a judge is sitting somewhere in the courts and telling us, for you now to remove that tax, go back to the people and conduct another round of public participation. I don't know, Honorable Speaker, what kind of country we are in. I don't know whether it is what Honorable TJ Kajwang describes as judicial dictatorship, or it is judicial overreach, or it is people in their fantasy world imagining now they can be anything. You can be a judge, you can be a lawmaker, you can be a president. If you want to be a president, run for president. If you want to be an MP, run for MP. If you want to be a senator, run for Senate. But don't overreach. This judicial overreach must also now come to an end, Honorable Speaker. And I say that with immense respect to our learned friends in the judiciary. They must know they have boundaries. We have a country to guard, we have a country to govern. This country can only be governed and become a country if we do so under the rule of law, Honorable Speaker. And that rule of law, I can see with these numbers, Honorable Speaker, of these members of Parliament, we can put this matter to rest. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, I now put the question that this House do agree with the report of the Committee of the Whole House on its consideration of the Supplementary Appropriation Number 2 Bill, National Assembly Bill Number 39 of 2024. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.